That's why they're going to fight. Okay? And then another reason is that Iranians think that they belong to a great civilization. So they value their freedom and independence. Okay? Does that make sense? They're not going to submit to a foreign conqueror. So why else would the Iranians resist? Okay. Also religion, right? The Iranians are religious. They believe that America is Satan, and they have a duty, a religious obligation to fight Satan. Okay? So for many reasons, there's just no way that Iranian people are going to stand with America. You might have a minority, but most are going to resist. Okay? Okay, so does that make sense? Okay, any questions so far? Okay, so that's a great question. Why would the Americans think that the Iranian people will rise up? And the answer is that they need to justify the invasion. Okay, does that make sense? They have to have a logical explanation for why this invasion will succeed. Because one of the criticisms against them will be like, you need 4 million people to invade Iran. They don't have 4 million soldiers. They have at most 1 million soldiers, okay, total throughout the world. They have about 60,000 in the Middle East. So they can't get 1 million soldiers. So their only explanation is, okay, well, we're going to pretend that once we invade, the people of Iran will support us. Do you understand? So it's not based on truth, but it's a explanation for why the invasion will succeed. Does that make sense? Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so that's their propaganda. But do they actually believe this? And the answer is hubris, okay? They do believe this because they have hubris. And again, it's hard because we're not in their position. But once you're in that position where you have access to nuclear weapons, when you can kill anyone in the world, when you can see everything in the world, it makes you think you're God. Okay? And we remember, like last semester, we were reading the Greeks. And the Greeks believe the worst thing is hubris. Because it makes you think you're God. But you're not God. And you're going to get into a lot of trouble if you think you're God. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Any more questions?
Why do the US think that Iran will use their nuclear bomb if they create one? Because many countries have nuclear bombs.
Okay. So Trump says that Iran is 1 month from developing a nuclear bomb, right? America has been saying this for the past 10 years. Okay? You just Google this, and America's like, oh, Iran is only 1 month away from a nuclear bomb. They've been saying this for the past 10 years. So do you understand? When Trump gives a speech, there's absolutely no evidence that any of this is true, okay? But this is how he will explain the invasion. Okay? All right? And chances are that even if Tehran possess a nuclear bomb, they won't use it. Why not? That's right. The reality is that there's only one way that America can win this war against Iran, okay? They can just nuke the country. And America will do that if it has enough, if it has a pretext, okay? So nuclear weapons is something that Iran is very afraid of, okay? So does it make sense? All right. So this becomes, so American soldiers are trapped in this country. Okay? So now the question then is, wait a minute here. Why would America do something so stupid as send 100,000 soldiers into the country for no reason and get them trapped? Okay? So that's a question. And what I want to do now is make you the argument that there are two ways that we can prove or provide evidence that this is true, okay? The first is historical analysis. Historical analysis means that are there historical examples like this? Okay? Are there historical analogs? If there are, then this could be true, okay? The second method is through game theory analysis. Why would the actors who are rational do something as stupid as trap 100,000 American soldiers in Iran? All right? So we'll first do historical analysis to find historical analogs, examples, sort of similar to this. And then we'll look at game theory to try to reason out the motivation of the actors. Okay? So let's first look at game theory. Oh, sorry. Let's first look at historical analysis. Okay. So the year is 415 BCE, okay, in Athens. Remember that we studied Thucydides, the Peloponnesian War, last semester, okay? So we will now discuss the Peloponnesian War. The year is 415 BCE. And for the past 17 years, Athens have been fighting a brutal war against Sparta, okay? It's a stalemate. And then for whatever reason, a man named Alcibiades, okay, has a suggestion. Okay, and his suggestion is to win the war against Sparta, let's go invade Sicily. And Nicias, his opponent, is like, why the hell would we want to invade Sicily? It's far away. And Alcibiades is like, well, because it has a lot of money. And if we invade the country, we can take their money. Okay? And it turned out, by making this argument, the people of Athens really support this argument. Okay? Because the reason why is war was costing them a lot of money. And they become addicted to the easy money of empire. Okay? So they wanted to fight this war. So Nicias has this great idea of how to convince people not to go to war. Okay? And what he says to the people is, okay, guys, I know you want to fight this war. I know that you think this war is a good idea, but Sicily is a huge place. It has a navy. Therefore, we need a massive expedition force against Syracuse and Sicily, okay? We need at least 5,000 soldiers. That's a lot, okay? Because the total Athenian population is about 50,000 people, okay? 5,000 soldiers is a lot for Athens. And we need about 100 ships. And the idea is Nicias is trying to scare people into not agreeing to not fight, okay? That's the idea. The Athenians say, that's a great idea. Let's send a massive force against Sicily and Syracuse so the war can be won just like that, okay? Shock and awe. So the problem, though, is that never before in its history has Athens sent a large expedition force against another power. Okay, does that make sense? When the Persians invaded, they were invading Athens. Athens didn't go invade Persia. So when you have sent a massive expedition force against another country, what is your number one problem? What is the thing that you must resolve? But the Athenians didn't really think about it because they had absolutely no experience in fighting a foreign war. Okay. So the enemy knows the terrain better than you do, okay? But there's actually a much bigger problem than that. And it is what? Okay, the biggest problem is resupply. And this is something that the Athenians didn't think about because they never thought, they never fought a war like this before, okay? So they sent this huge expedition against Sicily. And Syracuse, which was a naval power, were surprised because they were like, why would the Athenians want to invade us, okay?